Good morning, everyone. Mrs. Gershon here. This week's list, we're going to continue our work with homophones this week. The only difference between this week and last week is obviously we're getting new words, but we are going to be working with homophones that have the long E sound. So I'm going to go through and read the words, and then we're going to talk about their meanings. Remember, if you have any questions about the meanings of any words, please just raise your hand and I can come around and help you. You will be scored on your spelling test based on if you spelled the word correctly with the meaning that I'm giving within the sentence. So here we go. We're going to start in our first column. We have seize, flee, steal, need, beat, heal, steal, meet, need. Second column, sweet, feet, seize, sweet, creek, seize, creek, seen, feet. In our last column, we have beat, heel, cheap, flee, seen, deer, cheap, meet, and deer. You'll notice that our patterns this week in your headers are going to have the long E sound, but with the long E, we're going to be looking at EE, and we're going to be looking at EA this week. So when you go ahead to go sort, you're going to be saying those words and sorting based on how they're spelled. Let's go through some of the meanings now. We have the word seize and seize. This seize, the first seize right here is something that you can visually seize, like she sees the bee buzzing by her face. And then this seize is like the ocean. We're talking about the water. The fact that we have a few seas in our world. Then we have flee. This flee means to run away, to be gone. And then we have over here, I'm going to try and make these arrows not so confusing. This flee, meaning the little animal, the little tiny insect that can jump really high. Sometimes your cat can get fleas. Then we have steal. That means to take something away. And then we have the other steal right down here. That is the metal. We were talking about how oftentimes steel is magnetic because it has iron in it. So this is the metal kind of steel. Then we have need. It is something that it's something that you have to have. That's the meaning of that, something you have to have. And then you have this need down here, kind of like when you knead the dough, you're pushing on the dough over and over and over again to get it ready. That's the kind of knead, K-N-E-A-D. It's like a push with your knuckles almost. We have beat. This beat is I beat my friend in a race. And then all the way up here you have the other beat. This is a vegetable that you can grow in your garden. It's almost like a really red purplish color. Then we have heel. That is the back of your foot. And then we have this kind of heel all the way up here. This heel is like when you're sick and you get better. We call that healing. Then we have meat. This is the meat that you eat that comes from animals like cow meat or the meat from chicken. Then you have this meat over here when you're actually introduced to something or someone new, you would meet them. Or if you set up a meeting with somebody, it would be this kind of meat, M-E-E-T. Then we have in our second column, feet. Those are the two things that you walk on. And then down here, you have the word feet. This is a meaning of kind of like a challenge. You're trying to overcome the feet ahead of you. It's a challenge. Then we have sweet. This suite is a room that might be connected to another room. Like oftentimes hotels have suites where you have one room that's connected to another room, or it's a couple of rooms put together. And then you have this suite up here, which is like candy, something that has a lot of sugar. Creek. creek is a small body of water that moves normally, much smaller than a river, but like a river, much smaller. And then you have this creek. This creek is the sound, like your floor creaking. Couple left, we have the word cheap. This cheap is you don't want to spend a lot of money on something, or something is inexpensive. And then this cheap would be a sound like from a little baby bird or a little baby chicken. It's a sound. Then you have seen. Oh, I missed the other one up here. Here we go, scene. This is like a scene in a movie, like a part in a movie. Not the whole movie, but just a piece of it. I think that one actually goes with our word. No, we have a word, sees. Oh, here it is, right down here. Scene is the past tense of see. So it's something you visualize or can actually take in an image with your eye. And our last one, we have dear. That's the animal. And then down here, we have dear, which is a way that you would start a letter to somebody, like Dear John. All right, we have all of our meanings. I know my arrows look very confusing now, but I tried to do my best to have you match up the words. Again, we're sorting by long E sound. You'll notice that most of these words have EA or EE. We do have that word sweet in here, and that word sees in here, that are probably going to be your oddballs this week because they don't fit in an EA or an EE pattern. Oh, I forgot to do C's. This uses an image with your eyes. Oh, we have 3 C's. Then you have the water. Then this seize is if you take something away from someone, like Mrs. Gershon seized the toy from the student. All right, I think we're all set with this. If you have questions about the meanings of any of these words, please feel free to raise your hand. I will come around and check your sorts. Time to grab scissors, and happy sorting.